It is your boy, Black Ronin, back on that again with another banger. Well, technically not so banger of a video for y'all's out here today there, y'all, but I gotta keep it 100 with y'all on this video. This is a straight down to earth type of video, and I just feel like this is a serious topic that needs to be talked about. And I'm curious, do a lot of Americans, a lot of young people even agree with me? Or y'all gonna call me crazy, but I'm 25 years old, and say what you want about Gen Z, but we witnessed the craziest time in history. Like literally, guys, we when we came into the world, like for us older head Gen Zers, we remember a time where we used to kind of be social. Like technology really didn't like consume us a lot until I would say probably our teenage years. But before that, guys, we used to be so much social. We used to want to go out. We used to like enjoy going to the mall, going to the skating rink. But now it's just like everybody just want to be so isolated. And then on top of that, I'm looking at the jobs and just how, low paying everything is. I'm looking at how expensive everything has gotten. And listen, I'm not here to make a bunch of excuses as a man, but it's like I'm a solid dude and I'm grinding hard. And I think it's crazy that, we live in such a society that just don't respect the hard working man doing his best out here. And what really broke my heart the other day and really made me feel some type of way was when I was at the workplace, because I work at a warehouse. And, being at the warehouse where I'm at right now, it was probably the fastest job I gotten because I had to leave my other one, got into it with my old roommate. I don't live there no more. I actually moved back with family. It was getting to the point I was about to get violent, and yeah, I knew I told myself I gotta get out of that environment. And listen, you'll get. And then on top of that, job wasn't even paying all that anyway. My old job, so it's like I mean, if I would have stayed there, I knew for a fact I would have done something dumb, and I probably would have been in jail, locked up, because I was gonna beat the shit out of my old roommate, and everybody knew it too. And everybody knew I would have won. Everybody knew he would have been in the hospital or worse. It wouldn't have been good. And look at me, guys. Like, come on, like, but so got out of that situation. Started working at the warehouse, and fastest job I gotten. But man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I feel like I'm going insane, but and I know I'm not tripping because like I'm seeing some hardworking dudes, man, and and I work around some of the coolest people ever, guys. And the crazy part, a lot of them, you know, which is why you should never judge like a book by its cover. But a lot of them are ex-cons, gang affiliated. They did it all, like everything you can think of, robbery, all types of stuff. Like I seen all like, and these guys turning their whole lives around and making it out here, but some of them are just going through it, guys. They really are. And it's this one coworker I got. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's really cool. Greets me every day. Good personality, always positive. And I went to the restroom. I caught him in the restroom, and he was coming out the stall, and I just see him, sniffing, had some residue from his nose. And, I already knew it was, I don't get tripped out over people, using substances. I mean, heck, I use, weed every now and then. And plus I did back in the day, I did this once. I'll never do this shit again. But back in Florida, I did do lean one time. That shit had me retarded. I'll never do that shit ever again in my life. But now weed, I'll do that every blue moon. But I mean, honestly, from hitting the gym and just staying consistent and being focused, I just never needed it. I never needed it in general, but when I really got focused, I just never really had the need for it. I'll still hit it if I'm out and about, or if it's there, yeah. But I never depended on anything. I never depended on alcohol. In fact, I actually hate alcohol. It's a big turnoff whenever I meet a girl who's loves alcohol and all that stuff. Like it's a big turnoff for me. But yeah, just never been a thing that I just needed to do. I never. But hey, everybody's different. But the reason that like that's like what I seen from my coworker the other day at work has shook me, and why not so sure as America is even a solid place to raise kids and probably one of the worst places ever to raise a family, was the fact that he told me, he was like, bro, I'm literally trying to keep myself, going as strong as possible. I need everything that I possibly can. I got a daughter, but I don't want her to see me like this, so it's like I stay clean, like, and do all that stuff, just on the side, but I gotta really stay focused out here. And unfortunately, guys, that's a lot of Americans, like, because when I look around, it's a lot of Americans really hooked on substances, guys, like, just to perform at such a higher level. Like, and it's crazy. And then on top of that, you mix it with the garbage diets and so much consumerism, and it really messes up a lot of people out here. And I just see it every day. Like, no matter how strong you think you are, there's always something that's just gonna get you, or just have you, keep tripping, or just, like, and I'm seeing it, guys, and the reason why I say that America is probably the worst place to raise a family, I'm just looking at the mental state of everybody around here. And even though, like I said earlier, if I haven't already, but I never been addicted to any substances, no alcohol, anything. I tried a few stuff over the years, I have my favorites, but like, I never been addicted to it. And honestly, being in the gym, being consistent, having a clear vision of what I want out of life, having God has really, shield me from a lot of those things and made me the savage person I am today. And yeah, I don't have myself all together, just like a lot of us young men. It takes time for us to get ourselves together, but we live in a very wild time. And cuz and it just goes to show like how bad, people are really going through it, cuz you got the bills, you got children, and people are just trying to keep afloat without snapping and losing it. Do you really want to raise a child in this? Like, raise a family? I'll tell y'all, the only way I would raise a child in America, if I were to bust in a woman tonight, she would have to be rich and she would have to be older. That's the only way I'll do it. And don't get me wrong, like, I will say this: if I happen to meet a girl of my dreams, anytime or whatever, and she meets all my requirements and stuff, like, meets my standards and everything I'm looking for, or 80% of what I'm looking for, and yeah, I don't mind building with that person. But I will tell her, hey, if we do decide to have children, we're going to have to do this outside of America, because looking around, I really don't like where we're headed. And on top of that, I just don't like, I just feel like, there is really no sense of, like, community here like that. It's like, it's there, but it's just, it don't feel the same, guys. Like, growing up as a kid do not feel the same like it does right now. Like I said, as Gen Zers, we witnessed such a crazy, drastic change from just being so social and without social media and so much stuff, which I love social media. It's really been great. It's getting me access to, pursue certain dreams, and it's definitely propelled me to get more opportunity as an actor, for sure. But looking around, it's like, man, people have really gotten deteriorated. And then looking at the media, I mean, man, big mess out here, guys. And it's really sad, guys, at just how crazy things have just gotten. And I just feel so bad for just, a lot of people that really want to raise a family and stuff, and they're trying. And then on top of that, let's look at dating too, guys. And like, guys, when it comes down to dating, I look around, guys, I don't care what anybody say, this idea that you have to be, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, financially stable is definitely great, but at the same time, it's like, there was a time where you can work a job, and heck, I believe, back in what, like, the 90s and stuff, like, full time, 40 hours, heck, even less than that, part time, honestly. and you were still able to keep a roof over your head, pay for groceries and all that stuff, and like your money went so much farther back then. But now it's just like it's just wow, it's crazy how far you just like your money just don't go anymore. Inflation and all that stuff, it's so many factors right now. And I'm not trying to make excuses as a man, but at the same time, it's like I'm not one of these dudes that just sitting at home ain't doing nothing. I'm out here, number one, grinding with YouTube, and on top of that, I'm grinding with acting. I work in a warehouse full time, and on top of that, I'm a dancer outside of that, and I still haven't been able to move out yet. You know, like let that sink in. Imagine if I was doing all that stuff in the 90s. Wonder how much farther I would have been. But at the end of the day, I'm not stressing. I just know that we just live in a very wild time here in America. But the idea of just looking around and just seeing, the amount of work and effort that you put in as a man, and I'm just looking at the fact, like, if I do decide to have a child and I happen to have a son, how on earth can I raise him to be strong and masculine when a lot of dudes, a lot of people is so weak minded and everybody's on substances? And don't get me wrong, I know people are going through it, but it's like, when did that ever become the norm? I remember a time where it's like that wasn't really like that, growing up, but now it's just so prevalent. I don't know, guys. It just don't set right with me. And then on top of that, if I raise a daughter, it's like, man, how on earth can I tell her to even find a dude that's, really? It's like, cause I like, don't get me wrong, like it's a few dudes I meet that's actually doing something and going somewhere in life, but at the same time, it's like they let go of their health, and there's that masculine essence that's missing, and there's definitely a lot of dudes lost out here, because when I look back at my parents' time, they were in shape, they went out, they put in work, but now it's just like everybody's glued to their screens, and nobody really goes out anymore. Like, is that the type of environment you want to raise a child? Don't get me wrong, technology is great, but looking around, it's like, and then the crazy part is like whenever you try to do better, whenever you push yourself and keep going, I don't feel like I get a lot of recognition here. Like, I don't feel like I'm really growing at the rate I need to grow. Now, I'm not here complaining. I'm not telling anybody to feel sorry for me. By no means necessary. But, I just find it pretty crazy that so many people think that a man's worth is just how much money he make. Because I was never told that as a kid. My dad didn't make a whole lot of money, but he was a strong, masculine man. Yeah, he cheated my mom. Yeah, he abandoned me as a teenager. And yeah, there's just certain things I just had to learn, go from boy to man. I had to learn it a little later in life. But I will say he did a great job raising me and teaching me a lot of responsibility when I was a child. I will give him that, and I'm always going to respect him for that. And seeing how our household was, there are certain things I didn't like, and how I definitely want to improve that, with my chance of, leading a legacy down the line. So, yeah, like, just seeing that and just looking around, it's like, how on earth do you raise a child in this and raise them healthy? That's another thing. Our food is garbage. And I'm just like, okay, food, garbage, full of toxins, consumerist society. One thing about me, guys, like, I don't really care about name brands. And I feel like it's like, honestly, guys, other than the gym, I feel like that's really how I like gather a lot of people now, the gym. And just working out. But other than that, guys, it's like we're such a consumerist society. It's honestly scary. It's like, bro, there's so much more than just buying this, buying that. Like, guys, like, as a 25-year-old, if I was rich right now, I honestly wouldn't care about having a supercar or none of that stuff. Like, I generally like to live simple. Yeah, I have a few nice things, but at the end of the day, do you have a wife? Are you happily married? That's the main thing. Is God present? That's the main thing. But the way we live out here is just it's backwards, man. That's why I do think a lot of us do need to travel. We need to move around. I'm not here to cancel all of America. I know there's some solid people out there that may still have a shot at getting married. I know there's some good places still that I haven't discovered yet in America. I haven't been all over the place, but looking around, it just feels so soulless here. This is a very soulless society that I feel like we're living in now. And just seeing the detachment of men and women, how like just how we just don't relate anymore. Seeing the fall of masculinity like within our men, and then seeing the femininity on the decline with a lot of women. And heck, even when you are a dude that's practicing and doing the right stuff and putting yourself out there and really taking back your power out here, you know you're you're literally public enemy number one. And it's just how do you win? But yeah, so I don't know, man. It's just crazy, how far we just fallen away. But at the end of the day, keep going outside, keep talking to people, travel. But me personally, guys, I don't think I can see myself raising a family out here. If I do, it's going to have to be somewhere that's very fit. It's going to have to be somewhere that, like it's got to be known for the outdoors. There's just certain skills I just want to teach a child, like teach my offspring. Outside of just the internet stuff, yeah, I'm talented with this stuff. Yeah, I love to talk with you guys, but I gotta teach them more than that, because I'm not a college person. Wouldn't even expect my children to go to college. This is not for me, and I doubt it's gonna be for my children. But yeah, I just like to live simple. Like I care about things that actually matter. But at the same time, I will chase and pursue my goals as well. But yeah, I just feel like I need to travel, and I think a lot of us do, look outside the box. And again, this is not me hating on America, but I just feel like this is not a solid place I would raise a family. I'm looking around other places around there, like around the world, Africa, even parts of Europe. You got Australia, and it's crazy how just there's like little to no homeless in certain parts, a lot of parts, and just how there's, happier families. That's what I care about. Are people happy? Forget all the crazy stuff that going on the news. Are the people happy? Because America, we're so-called the richest country in the world. I know for a fact most people ain't happy looking around. You're throwing away so much time and work, like time and energy at work, but you're not getting compensated like you need to at least. And on top of that, you're getting burned out. So now you're turning to substances. This is the life of America, guys. And I don't know, guys. Do y'all really want to bring children to this? I don't know, but y'all let me know. Like I said earlier in the video, only way I'll have children, if I were to bust tonight in a woman, it's going to have to be an older, rich woman. That's probably the only way I'll raise a child in America. Even then, if she rich, I'll be like, hey, we got to travel over here. We're going to put our kid in private school. We going over here, we finna do some traveling. But that's the only way I think I have a child out here. Or if I got rich, I'm going to leave. I'm not sticking here. If I got a girl by my side at the time, hey, pack your bags, we leaving. Well, don't worry, we'll come back and forth and stuff, but nah, we got to get up out of here. But that's all I want to say, guys. It is your boy Black Ronin. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one.